Tonight, Stephen Colbert and Elon Musk clashed on The Late Show in a fiery, viral confrontation. Their heated debate spiraled into raw hostility, leaving viewers stunned. Buckle up as we dive into the drama that ended with Musk's dramatic exit. The stage was set for a blockbuster episode of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. The guest? None other than Elon Musk, the tech titan whose name alone sparks 1,000 headlines. Colbert, known for his sharp wit and knack for grilling guests, welcomed Musk with his trademark grin, but you could feel the tension crackling in the air from the opening handshake. The audience, packed to the rafters, buzzed with anticipation. Musk, dressed in his usual black tee and jeans, looked relaxed, almost cocky, as he settled into the guest chair. Colbert wasted no time diving straight into the meat of it. "Elon, let's talk about your influence," Colbert began, leaning forward, his tone playful but pointed. "You've got billions of dollars, millions of followers, and a habit of stirring the pot. Some say you're shaping the future. Others say you're just, well, a chaos agent. Where do you stand?" The audience chuckled, but Musk's smile tightened. He tilted his head, sizing Colbert up. "I'm building things that matter," Musk replied, his voice calm but edged. "Space travel, electric cars, AI. If that's chaos, then chaos is progress." The crowd clapped, but Colbert wasn't letting him off that easy. "Progress for who, though?" Colbert pressed, his grin fading. "Your companies get tax breaks. Your tweets move markets. And let's not forget your, let's call it, free speech absolutism. Sounds like a lot of power for one guy." The audience murmured, sensing the shift. Musk's eyes narrowed. "Power?" Musk shot back. "I'm just a guy with ideas. You're the one with a platform, Stephen, preaching to your choir every night." The jab landed. The crowd gasped, then laughed nervously. Colbert's eyebrows shot up, but he kept his cool, leaning back in his chair. "Preaching? Ouch," Colbert said, feigning hurt. "But let's talk about those ideas. Like, say, your stance on regulation. You've called government oversight a stranglehold on innovation. Yet Tesla's had safety issues, and X has been a lightning rod for misinformation. You cool with that?" The question hung in the air like a guillotine. Musk shifted in his seat, his casual vibe replaced by something sharper. "Look, Stephen, nothing's perfect. Tesla's saving the planet. X is a town square. You want to talk misinformation? How? About the mainstream media spinning narratives every day?" The audience split, half cheering, half booing. Colbert's smile was gone now. "Spinning narratives?" Colbert said, his voice rising. "Elon, you've tweeted memes that make QAnon look tame. You're not just a bystander, you're fanning the flames." The crowd roared, some clapping, others shouting. Musk leaned forward, his jaw tight. "You want to play gotcha?" Musk said, his tone icy. "Fine. Let's talk about your show. You mock people you disagree with, call it comedy, and everyone claps like trained seals. That's not truth, Stephen. That's a script." The audience erupted, a mix of cheers and jeers. Colbert's face flushed, his fingers drumming on the desk. "Trained seals?" Colbert said, forcing a laugh. "Elon, I'm asking questions. You're dodging them. Let's try this. Why do you keep wading into political fights? You're a tech guy, not a senator. What's the game plan?" The question was a challenge, and Musk took the bait. "I'm not playing games," Musk snapped. "I'm speaking up because someone has to. You think Washington's got it all figured out? They're clueless. I'm trying to wake people up." His voice was loud now, almost shouting. The crowd was on edge, feeding off the energy. Colbert pounced. "Wake people up or rile them up? Your words carry weight, Elon. When you tweet about government overreach or woke nonsense, people listen. And sometimes they act. You ever think about that responsibility?" The audience was deafening, split down the middle. Musk's face was stone. "Responsibility?" I'm not their babysitter, Stephen. People can think for themselves. Or do you think they need you to spoon-feed them? The insult was sharp, personal. Colbert's eyes flashed with anger. The stage was a powder keg, and the fuse was lit. Neither man was backing down, and the audience could feel it. This wasn't just a debate. It was a showdown. As the segment cut to a break, Colbert and Musk stared each other down, the hostility palpable. What would happen when the cameras rolled again? The cameras rolled back on, and the air in the studio was thick with tension. Stephen Colbert, usually the master of diffusing awkward moments with a quip, looked like he was biting back 1,000 retorts. Elon Musk, meanwhile, sat with his arms crossed, his gaze locked on Colbert like a predator sizing up its prey. The audience, still buzzing from the pre-break fireworks, leaned forward in their seats, sensing the confrontation was about to escalate. Colbert broke the silence, his voice tight but controlled. "Welcome back, folks. We're here with Elon Musk, and let's just say things are getting lively." The crowd laughed nervously, but Colbert's eyes never left Musk. "Elon, before the break, you said people can think for themselves. Fair enough. But when you amplify divisive stuff on X, like, say, questioning election integrity, doesn't that muddy the waters?" Musk's lips curled into a half-smirk, but his eyes were cold. "Muddy the waters? Stephen, I'm not the one." With a nightly monologue, telling people what to think. You cherry-pick issues, make your jokes, and call it truth. X is just people talking. You scared of that? The jab was sharp, and the audience gasped, then erupted in a mix of cheers and boos. Colbert's jaw clenched, but he kept his tone even. "Scared? No, Elon, I'm worried. When you retweet conspiracy theories or dunk on scientists, it's not just talking. It's a megaphone. You're not some random guy on X. You're Elon Musk. Own it." The crowd roared, some clapping, others shouting Musk's name. The divide was clear. Musk leaned forward, his voice low and intense. "Own it? I do. I'm not hiding, Stephen. Unlike some people, I don't need a script to speak my mind. You want to talk megaphones? Look at this show. You're not asking questions, you're setting traps." The accusation hung heavy, and the audience went wild, split between support for Musk's defiance and Colbert's grilling. Colbert's smile was gone, replaced by a steely glare. "Traps? I'm doing my job, Elon. You're the one dodging. Let's try this. Your push for deregulation. You say it's about freedom, but Tesla's had crashes tied to autopilot. People died. You cool with that trade-off?" The question was a gut punch, and the studio fell silent, all eyes on Musk. Musk's face darkened, his voice rising. "Don't you dare twist that. Every car company has accidents. Tesla's tech saves lives, and you know it. You're just fishing for headlines. Stephen, it's pathetic." The word pathetic echoed, and the crowd exploded, some cheering Musk's fire, others booing his aggression. Colbert didn't flinch. "Pathetic? I'm asking about accountability, Elon. You talk freedom, but when things go wrong, it's always someone else's fault. X-bans, Tesla recalls, SpaceX explosions. When do you say, 'my bad'?" The audience was deafening, feeding off the raw hostility. Musk shot back, his voice booming. "Accountability? Look in the mirror, Stephen. You mock anyone who doesn't fit your narrative, then hide behind comedy. You're not a journalist, you're a performer. And I'm done playing your game." He slammed his hand on the armrest, and the crowd gasped, the energy electric. Colbert's eyes flashed with fury, but he leaned in, voice cutting like a knife. "A performer? At least I'm not pretending to save the world while picking fights. On X, you're not a hero, Elon. You're a provocateur, and people are eating it up. But for how long?" The audience was a sea of noise, split down the middle, as the two men glared at each other. The stage manager signaled for a wrap, but neither man seemed ready to back down. Colbert's voice was icy. "We're not done here, Elon. Stick around." Musk's smirk returned, but it was laced with venom. "Oh, I'm not going anywhere, Stephen." The cameras cut, but the tension didn't. The audience was on edge, whispering, tweeting, already spreading clips online. Something bigger was coming, and everyone could feel it. Would this showdown explode into something neither could control? The studio lights blazed back on, and the audience's restless energy filled the room like static. Stephen Colbert sat ramrod straight, his usual charm replaced by a barely contained fury. Elon Musk, slouched slightly, exuded defiance, his smirk, daring Colbert to take another swing. The crowd, now a live wire of anticipation, hung on every word, phones out, capturing every second of the escalating war. Clips were already blowing up online, but no one was prepared for what was coming. Colbert launched in, his voice sharp as a blade. "We're back with Elon Musk, and folks, it's been a ride. Elon, you say you're not playing games, but let's talk X. You've called it a truth-seeking platform, yet it's a magnet for bots, trolls, and outright lies. You're the boss. Why not clean it up?" The question was a grenade, and the audience leaned in, split between cheers and murmurs. Musk's smirk vanished, his eyes flashing. "Clean it up? Stephen, you don't get it. X is raw, unfiltered. People see the world as it is, not through your polished lens. You want a nanny state online? That's not truth. That's control." His voice was loud, almost a growl, and the crowd erupted, some cheering his rebellion, others booing his defiance. Colbert's face tightened, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "Raw? Sure, raw like a sewer. You're not giving people truth, Elon. You're giving them chaos. And you're profiting off it. How's that sit with your save humanity shtick?" The audience roared, the divide stark as shouts of "Tell him, Stephen," clashed with "Let's go, Elon." Musk leaned forward, his voice low and venomous. "Profit? You're one to talk, Stephen. Your show's a machine, churning out applause for your snark. You don't care about truth. You care about ratings. At least I'm building something real." The personal dig hit hard, and the crowd gasped, the tension spiking. Colbert's eyes narrowed, his voice rising. "Real? Like your Hyperloop that never happened? Or your AI that's gonna save us all, but keeps spouting nonsense? You sell dreams, Elon, but when they crash, you're nowhere to be found." The audience was deafening, a mix of cheers and jeers, as the confrontation turned brutal. Musk's face reddened, his voice booming. "Crash? I've done more for progress than your entire career of cheap laughs. You sit there judging me, but what have you built? Nothing but a soapbox." He jabbed a finger at Colbert and the crowd went wild, the studio shaking with noise. Colbert shot back, standing slightly, his voice cutting through the chaos. "A soapbox? I'm holding you accountable, Elon. You dodge questions. You mock critics, and you act like you're above it all. Newsflash, you're not God. You're just a guy with too much money and not enough humility." The audience was a tidal wave, split down the middle as the two men locked eyes, neither blinking. Musk's laugh was bitter, his tone icy. "Humility? From you? You're a hypocrite, Stephen. You preach tolerance, but tear down anyone who disagrees. With you, X exposes that, and you hate it." He leaned back, arms crossed, daring Colbert to respond. The crowd was frenzied, feeding off the raw hostility. Colbert's voice was a controlled burn. "Expose? All X exposes is your ego. You're not a truth-teller, you're a fire starter. And when it burns, you walk away. Like with Tesla's workers, SpaceX's failures, or X's hate speech. When does it stop, Elon?" The question was a challenge, and the studio held its breath. Musk's eyes blazed, his voice a snarl. "Stop? I don't stop, Stephen. I fight. You wouldn't understand, sitting in your cozy studio playing to the room. I'm out there, taking risks while you just point and laugh." He slammed his hand on the chair and the audience gasped, the energy electric. The stage manager signaled time, but the fight was far from over. Colbert's voice was steel. Risks? You're risking lives, Elon, not just money. We'll finish. This. Musk's smirk returned, but it was feral. Bring it on, Stephen. The cameras cut, but the war didn't. Online, the internet was ablaze, and the audience knew. The final round was coming, and it would be explosive. The studio lights snapped back on, and the atmosphere was a pressure cooker. The audience, now, a roiling sea of cheers and jeers, could barely stay seated. Stephen Colbert, his face a mask of controlled fury, gripped his desk. Elon Musk, leaning forward, radiated defiance, his eyes daring Colbert to swing. The internet was already melting. Down, clips of their clash racking up millions of views. This was the final round, and everyone knew it would be a knockout. Colbert dove in, his voice a razor. We're back with Elon Musk, and it's been intense. Elon, you say you fight for progress, but let's get real. Your vision, Mars, AI, X, it's all bold, but it's reckless. People get hurt, workers, users, even democracy. When do you draw the line? The audience roared, split between support for Colbert's grilling and Musk's audacity. Musk's laugh was sharp, cutting. Draw the line? Stephen, you don't get to lecture me on responsibility. You sit here, night after night, stirring up your crowd with half-truths. My companies build the future. Your show just tears it down. His voice was a growl, and the crowd erupted, some chanting, Elon, while others booed. Colbert's eyes flashed, his tone icy. Tear it down? I'm calling you out, Elon. You talk about the future, but your present is a mess. Tesla's safety violations, X's misinformation, SpaceX's environmental impact. You're not a savior, you're a liability. The audience was deafening, a chaotic mix of cheers and shouts, as the tension hit its peak. Musk shot to his feet, his voice booming. A liability? You're the liability, Stephen, with your sanctimonious act. You think you're the voice of reason? You're just a clown in a suit pandering for claps. The insult was a bomb, and the crowd gasped, then exploded, the studio shaking with noise. Musk towered over the desk, pointing at Colbert. Colbert stood too, his voice a controlled shout. A clown? At least I'm not a billionaire playing God, Elon. You dodge accountability, you fuel division, and you act like it's all a game. It's not. People's lives are at stake. The audience was frenzied, split down the middle as the two men faced off, inches apart. Musk's face was red, his voice a snarl. Lives? I'm saving lives, Stephen. Electric cars, space exploration, free speech. You think that's nothing? You're too busy mocking to see it. He slammed his fist on the desk, and the crowd went wild, the energy raw and uncontainable. Colbert didn't back down, his voice cutting through the chaos. Saving lives. You're risking them, Elon. And when it goes wrong, you blame everyone but yourself. You're not a hero. You're a bully with a platform. The audience was a tidal wave, screaming as the confrontation reached its breaking point. The stage manager waved frantically, but Colbert held up a hand, his voice steel. Enough, Elon. You've had your say. But this isn't X. This is my show. And I'm done with your excuses. The crowd roared, sensing the endgame. Musk's eyes widened, his smirk gone. Musk leaned in, voice low and venomous. Your show? You're nothing without guests like me. You need me, Stephen. The taunt was personal, and the audience held, its breath waiting for Colbert's response. Colbert's face was stone, his voice calm but final. Need you? No, Elon. We need truth, not chaos. You're done here. He turned to the stage manager. Get him out. The crowd gasped, then erupted in a mix of cheers and boos as security stepped forward. Musk froze, then laughed bitterly. "You're kicking me off? Pathetic." He grabbed his jacket, glaring at Colbert. "You'll regret this, Stephen." With that, he stormed off stage, the audience in chaos, phones capturing every second. Colbert stood tall, his face unreadable as the cameras panned to the roaring crowd. As the show cut to its close, Colbert sat, his voice steady. "Folks, that was something. But here's the deal. No one's above accountability. Not me, not him, not anyone. Thanks for watching." The audience clapped, some stunned, others triumphant, as the credits rolled. Online, the incident went supernova, with reactions pouring in, some hailing Colbert's stand, others decrying the drama. But in that moment, the message was clear. The showdown was over, and Colbert had drawn the line. The Late Show had never felt so raw, and the audience, both in the studio and at home, knew they'd witnessed something unforgettable.